Okay, sorry about that. We kind of sloped off there so quickly. But I wanted to make sure I didn't go over time. So I'm going to finish this chapter and then we'll quickly go over everything. For some reason, it made me defensive because her mom wants to know what she was planning going forward. For some reason, it makes me defensive. I thought you wanted to do something, I said. I do, she said thoughtfully, but I just want to know what you're up to. I huffed off to my room. When I found the website, I started looking in the agenda and minute documents around the date of Mrs. Walton's letter. Mom was right. It was super boring. Teacher retirements, students expulsion, lots of money stuff. Then I found it. A proposed curriculum policy addressing sexual orientation. Then some from stuff from the district attorney about non-discrimination. Then Mrs. Walton's name jumped out at me. Teaching about sexual matters, including homosexuality, is best left to families and churches, the minutes reported, she said. Then someone from a group who promotes the equality of gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people spoke. She said the policy would make it impossible for teachers and staff to talk about anything having to do with gay or lesbian people without permission from the superintendent. What? I thought. That is so weird. The minutes said they had discussed the new policy at the next meeting. I waited impatiently for the PDF of the next meeting to download. I scrolled through all the junk in the beginning with the calendar and stuff. I read, the new policy applies not only to the health curriculum, but to all curriculum areas. The proposed policy is to create a safe working and learning environment for both staff and students in compliance with state and federal laws. Its focus is respect and tolerance. Motion for the new policy seconded, and that was it. Does that mean they did? They had said yes to the policy, and what did it say? I kept looking, and in all the junk at the bottom, rental agreements and laundry contracts, who knew? I found the policy. I charged into my parents' room with my laptop. They were both reading in bed. Staff shall remain unbiased on matters regarding sexual orientation. My mom read out loud. What is this about the policy? I said, pacing around the room. The reason teachers and administrators won't help kids like Dominic. Are you sure this is it? Did you see it was approved? I showed her the part about the motion and the seconding. Is that what this means? I asked. She nodded. Yes, looks like it, honey. She reached out a hand to me. I'm really tired. Can we talk about this more tomorrow? I'm not sure you're right. I'm not sure your take on this is right. I frowned. Give us kisses and go to bed. Reluctantly, I did. Unfortunately, I think even with Mom being tired, she knows the truth that it is right, and her take on it is exactly what it is. Okay, so quickly, just to go back here. What she had asked her mom to do was go to the PTA meeting and find out, what's going on, why the GSA had been blocked, who this Miss Walton woman was. And ultimately what she has now discovered is that there was a meeting for the PTA 1 month, and they said that, you can't take away the right for people to be openly who they are, and there should be a healthy balance for everyone to get an education and kind of just coexist. And the policy that they wrote up makes it sound like teachers and staff are to be unbiased about all of it. They're not to say anything, and they're not to intervene or interject, nor should they be speaking about their own personal lives. And that's where chapter 17 ended. So now we're going to jump into chapter 18 here. At breakfast, my mom tried to convince me that unbiased was a good thing. Jesus, I really can't see. I had printed out some of the pages to show Zoe. I read to Mom what the GLBT women had said about the policies making teachers unable to talk about homosexuality at all. She shook her head. At lunch, I found Zoe before going to sit with my friends. Here, I said, sticking the pages out at her. Read this, and then maybe we can meet again soon. She looked up, surprised. I hurried away, embarrassed for some reason. The next day at lunch, Zoe came up to me at our lunch table. My friends all eyed her. Thanks, Zoe said. Thursday okay? Meet in the parking lot? That was the girl again, said Jenny. I nodded. I could tell they thought I was being weird about it. I didn't care. On Thursday, the parking lot was a zoo after school. How was I supposed to find anyone? Then someone threw an arm around my shoulder. I spied with my little gay eye an ally, yelled Tyler. He dropped his arm. Where's Zoe? I hoped we were going to Subway. We found the others at Zoe's car. Shotgun, Tyler yelled. I already called it, said one of the girls. My parents would kill me, said Zoe. But you guys can cram into the back seat, right? It's only 7 blocks. I tried to say I'd walk, but Tyler pushed me into the car. Sounds like my friend Tyler, too. Get in. You can be in the middle and have my butt. he said, shoving Emilio in next to me. The other girls got in the other side. Tyler crawled in and lay across our laps, humming, "Everyone buckle me in with you," he insisted. We ignored him. We were so wedged in that I couldn't have even reached my seatbelt anyways. At the coffee shop, Zoe filled everyone in on what I had found. They all looked kind of baffled, but unbiased means not taking sides, one of the girls says. Isn't that good? Zoe smiled triumphantly. I found out more. I got Salazar to crack when I showed him the policy. He admitted it has all that teachers scared. See, if you stand up for a kid who's being called a faggot, you're taking sides. You're saying it's okay to be gay and that people shouldn't be stupid and prejudiced. Is this why my health teacher has yet to discuss safe sex for anyone other than vanilla heteros, Tyler says? Emilio blushed. And not talking about authors who were gay, I added. Zoe nodded. It's so vague, and the administrators are so weird about it that none of the teachers know what's okay. So they feel safer saying nothing. Doesn't bother most of them, she said bitterly. But Salazar, said one of the girls. He's afraid of losing his job, said Zoe. He was pretty out to students and everyone before, but he's afraid he'll get targeted. And his partner is in grad school, and they're trying to adopt right now. Okay, so he's trying to keep it together so that he can still remain the family man that he is. Tyler slurped his iced mocha. So what do we do? Well, Zoe said slowly, we could say we think it's a bad policy, that it's hurting GLBT kids. Who's going to listen? Said Amelia. The school board, I said. There's a meeting in 2 weeks. I think anyone can go. I stopped. What was I saying? I didn't want to go to the school board meeting. Or maybe some parents could, I trailed off. Zoe's eyes lit up. Great idea. I could totally get my mom to go and speak. But we need to have kids who are affected too for the biggest impact. Tyler elbowed me. Thanks for volunteering all us queers. He's not happy, but I gotta say, it seems to me that she has found a niche for herself and a form of happiness, even though the sad part of it is she had to lose Dominic in order to find it. But this book still remains, it reminds you all around that with the bad comes some good, and some good comes some bad. And you never actually heal from a loss, but you learn to incorporate it into your everyday life, and you find truer and newer meaning to everything. And I'm seeing that with the, I'm going to say, there's a word I want to use and I can't think of it. But I'm seeing that with how she's evolving. There we go, evolving. She's growing, she's learning more about herself, but she's also taking in everybody else, and she's learning how to accept herself and things around her. That's the word, evolving. Going right back. No one should talk who doesn't feel comfortable, said Zoe. But maybe we can find a few people. She looked at us pleadingly. There are other kids out there you know about. We can just try to talk to people. We all nodded. Then let's meet on Wednesday and see if you can bring anyone new along. We'll figure out then who's going to talk, okay? Bella, can you get us on the school board agenda? I nodded. I couldn't believe we're going to do this. You know what? I think it's great. Do it. So we now know what her plan is. She's going to go to the school board meeting, and they're going to stand up for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender rights. And I agree with that. You should stand up for any right you have, and if it involves having to go to the school board, then you take it all the way to the top. Chapter 19. Monday morning, my mom was reading the paper at breakfast. I was just trying to wake up. How terrible, she murmured. I didn't pay much attention, but when she flipped the paper over to read the other page, I saw teen suicide. What happened? I asked, suddenly alert. A girl killed herself over the weekend, not from your school, but from one of the middle schools. Mom sighed. This is getting worse, is what I'm seeing here. Now we're in middle school. Was she gay? I asked. Mom looked at me over her glasses. I'm not sure at that age. It just says here that her family says she was being harassed for being a tomboy. On my way to school, I stuffed the paper in my bag. There was nothing on the morning announcements, but I guess since it wasn't our school, they didn't have to tell us anything. Kids could be killing themselves at other schools all over the district, and we'd never know. At lunch, I rushed up to Zoe. I heard, she said grimly. That's my middle school. My old middle school. My cousin goes there. I don't know why I didn't think of it before, but we should be reaching out to GSAs at other schools, especially for the school board meeting. There are GSAs at other schools, I asked. We drifted over to a table and sat down to eat while we talked. Lunch was only 20 minutes after all. Gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Some. There's one at the middle school. That's why I wanted one here. I didn't go to the meetings until 8th grade, but it helped me a lot. I'm going to talk to Mrs. Klein. She's the GSA advisor there after school and see if any of her students would come to the school board meeting. Want to come? Sure, I said, glancing over at my friends. I'm going to go now. Zoe nodded, not offended. I'll meet you at my car. Mrs. Klein at the middle school was really happy to see Zoe, but very emotional about Lydia, the girl who killed herself. I would be too. She came to a couple of the meetings, but she didn't say much. I think she was dating another girl in the group, but they broke up. Her parents are the one who had come forward after the bullying. I guess they didn't know much until after her death. Her sister told them a little, and they looked through her text messages. It was terrible, the things other kids were saying to her. She stopped to wipe her eyes and blow her nose. Okay, so in this case, this isn't happening online and isn't happening so much in person. It's happening via text. I think her parents had tried to ignore her sexuality, or she hadn't told them, but now they are outraged that she was being harassed and no one did anything, Mrs. Klein continued. Did anybody know? Zoe asked. Mrs. Klein nodded. She showed some of her texts to the principal. She told her to change her number. Her sister had heard about that, too. That's pathetic. That's pathetic. Then Zoe asked her about the policy. Mrs. Klein nodded. Teachers only heard about it from the principal. We can't find out what it means, and I've been pushing for years for staff training on how to handle bullying, especially when it's GLBT related. She sighed. I didn't know the best way to help either. There are plenty of other students who come to me with suicidal thoughts or serious depression. I'm scared to refer them to the counselors. I've heard she's not very helpful, and honestly, many teachers are worried about their jobs. We told her about the school board meeting and our plan. Do you think any of our students would want to talk about problems with bullying and adults in schools and not helping, said Zoe. Mrs. Klein looked thoughtful. Maybe I'll ask. It would be amazing if we could get that policy changed. Maybe then I wouldn't be so desperate to find a job in another district. She cracked a little smile. I got in trouble for offering snacks when the GSA meeting. That's ridiculous. The concerned parent group said I was trying to lure kids into being gay with Cheetos. Mrs. Klein shook her head. I don't have snacks at meetings anymore. The concerned parents lady, Mrs. Walton, spoke at the meeting when the policy was passed, I said. They're a very formidable group, said Mrs. Klein, looking nervous, but I think you're right to take them on. So even the old teachers that Zoe had are saying the same thing, that this policy prevents them from doing anything. Right on down to telling them they can't have snacks because she's luring them into being gay. So we're going to end here on chapter 19, and we will pick up on chapter 20.